Collective, welcome. I'm Nikki, your local vegan tarotist. Okay, so I was doing a reading yesterday. The one I uploaded yesterday was from a couple days before that, and the one I was doing yesterday was interrupted. So, and I did not delete my previous one, so I ran out of space. So it was already under like a time constraint, and I was trying to fit it in, and then I just got frustrated, and so I didn't do that reading. I just deleted it. And it was a very spacey reading as well, and not in a very pleasant way. It was kind of an irritating way. So somebody, could have been, someone in this connection could feel very distracted, and not just distracted by their own thoughts or anything like that, but distracted by these external factors that do not want this union, for whatever reason, just for the sake of chaos. So there's something that's like trying to hold somebody back, but somebody's moving forward anyway. You both are moving forward anyway. One of you could be moving forward in Wheel of Fortune and the Queen of Cups. Feminine here could have strong water placements, a lot of Cancerian energy, but the Wheel of Fortune is fixed, so Scorpio. And water energy is just, it's trusting what you feel. It's trusting what you feel to move forward. And I'm reading for the masculine right now, so that tells me that the masculine has their eyes set on, they see this feminine as being like their complete abundance, which Cancerian energy with the Chariot, yeah, this masculine's moving forward because now initially to say, oh, this masculine views this feminine as their complete abundance, like, geez Louise, that sounds sort of, codependent, or like they are going to, and that could be the feminine's initial concern, is like, is this masculine here to take from me, or are they here to give or reciprocate, because this is a feminine who has worked very hard on filling their own cup. And that's why the masculine's coming in this Cancerian Chariot energy. And they're moving slowly. See, they're not coming in with a lot of force. There's not wind. It's a very, and looking here, this almost looked like the medical caduceus. Somebody could be, this feminine could be in like a Medusa energy, where they are turning people to stone, and they could be so beautiful to this masculine that, like, it's like they knock them dead. This feminine could be so beautiful that they just stop masculines in their tracks, turn them to stone. But I'm getting like a stone walling, right? Because I'm getting a lot of narcissistic influence. I mean, personally and in the collective, it's all mirroring itself, right? We're all going through this together, guys. We're in this together. We used to say, embrace the suck. If you know, you know. Maybe somebody is military. But with this Chariot here, there's like a stoic quality to this masculine, because they're just sort of observing, but they know their agenda is, somebody could have like an agenda book, to like plan their life. This could be a very organized masculine who has a lot of things going on, and so they're not wanting to like rush in. They're not wanting to rush in and just be there. I'm getting like, they don't want to be a filler flower. It could be something about them waiting on some sort of Ace of Pentacles. They could be waiting on some sort of finances to come in so that they can present something that meets the quality of this connection. So they view this feminine as the masculine views the feminine as a high quality, high value feminine. And so they want to make sure that they're up to snuff. Yeah, we have the moon. So yeah, something with the full moon. 333 could be important. But the lunar eclipses are all about trusting. Earth is in the way of the sun, which illuminates the moon. The sun is clarity and it's masculine energy. So this masculine is in a bit of a feminine energy, and it doesn't feel like they're in a toxic feminine energy where they are operating in a lower vibration where they're wanting the feminine to come to them. But it is sort of maybe with that Medusa aspect. I'm getting like, this is a feminine who has been scorned. Hell hath no fury. Like a feminine scorned. This feminine could have been scorned many times. So this masculine doesn't want to approach. This could be like the narcissist, this masculine. They understand how narcissists work, and this feminine has a lot of experience with that. And so both of you could have a lot of experience with that, and that's why maybe whatever this masculine does, they're around a lot of other masculines that are egocentric, chauvinistic, narcissistic, psychopathic, sociopathic, Machiavellian, this sort of dark triad. And the triangle is the magician, and the false magician, right, or the magician in reverse, it's the ultimate antagonist. It's the one who has all these powers at their disposal. They understand how energy works, but they use it for monetary gain or to feed their ego. The false magician is a dark triad, right? Because the triangle is of the magician. And so the dark triad is like the triangle in reverse, right? So it's like the pyramids point toward the sun. And so it's like the Illuminati and that all the conspiracies and, conspiracy theories, we'll call them. Finally, all the conspiracy theorists are going to start. That's what this grand I was going to say Grand Junction, maybe something about Colorado, but this like grand collective rise up is all of the ones who were considered crazy, or the conspiracy theorists, or the nut jobs, the loonies, the lunatics with the moon here. The ones who went by intuition, they just felt something was off. And then the powers that be, it's a mockery. The magician is a mockery of divine energy, right? It is the devil energy. It's all of that demonic energy, that the 666, it's a mockery of the Holy Trinity. It's mocking agape love, which is what 6 represents. And by 3s, it's saying there is unconditional love of the body, the mind, and the spirit. Me, myself, and I. The Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. The masculine, the feminine, the creation. Right? Whatever you consider the Holy Trinity, the dark magician mocks that. And I feel this great inundation and overwhelm of that narcissistic energy, the leeches, the takers, the vampires, and then we have the lovers, okay, which is the light aspect of the devil. Same imagery, but there's unconditional love here. So this masculine is witnessing. They are bearing witness, right? Because like on Judgment Day, it's like, do you have a witness? They are witnessing, they are bearing witness to this overwhelm that the feminine is going through. So they know that they have to come in a way that leaves no shadow of a doubt in this feminine's mind that they are here for the right reasons, that this is their person. Because, as you know, our karmic twins, right, false twins, they look a lot like, they act a lot like, they say all the right things. They know how to use and manipulate this energy for their gain. And so that's kind of this, I'm getting like a 7 of Swords, very guarded energy. Seven of Swords can also be like holding a grudge, which is very the Medusa, you know. She punishes all men who even look at her. Don't even look at me. So this could be a feminine who has been sort of reduced to their appearance, reduced to their exterior, whatever they have at their disposal, their dowry, so to speak, that has been taken from them. It's only ever been like, it's only ever been the external, nothing internal. This masculine's coming with all internal, and there was that Gemini energy. I mean, with the Lovers, that's Gemini energy, but let me clarify these for the masculine before we get into the feminine side. Knight of Swords, yeah, and Nine of Cups. This masculine knows that they are this feminine's wish fulfillment, which is kind of a strange message, because it's like they know this feminine better than the feminine knows themselves. Which is good, because I think this feminine has struggled with, it feels like the feminine has maybe struggled with some intuition. Is this intuition or fear? Am I accepting this job because I'm scared? Am I staying where I'm at because I'm scared? Or because, you know, the Lord has put me here? This could be a feminine, like a strong woman of faith is what I'm getting. Someone who has a lot of faith, but having faith does not make this process easier. If anything, it makes it harder. Like, you know, atheists, it's very like, I see it. So belief is a slippery slope, man. Because if you have the evidence, right? Fiduciary evidence. Anyway, I don't know where that's coming from. Nine of Cups. 10 of Pentacles. This and the Magician. There's that Queen of Wands. This feminine has been burned. They have been burned by false magicians. And that's in all aspects. Because they doubted their intuition, because they didn't listen to their gut. At times in their life, they were kind of put out in the cold for it. Financially, emotionally, Five of Cups. I'm getting a lot of Five of Cups. And this is a masculine who's coming to say, turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit tired and something. Because your twin and any karmic twins, right? False twins will look very much the same. Because I don't like to call them karmic so much, because all things are karma, right? Your divine counterpart is part of your karma. It is part of your good karma. So karma is not just all, karma's a bitch here to get you, and it's all, so there's a false twin and a true twin, right? All that is true is divine. All that is false is demonic, right? Damn, yeah, this feminine's in a very heavy energy. Let's go ahead and read for this feminine, because yeah, there's anxiety and fear and a sort of miser, a very guarded energy. This is that an X-Men where, oh gosh, what's her name? The redhead. I'm not big into Marvel. I like DC better. Is that Marvel? I don't even know. I think X-Men might be. Anyway, something about the X. X-Men also is, yeah, like the X-Men that this feminine has dealt with. It's put them in this anxiety. But anyway, with the redhead, what is her name? Damn it. Anyway, doesn't she like consume her lover? Blades, Wolverine, Libra energy. So I'm getting that this masculine is, they're willing to take on the risk of turning into stone. There's something about the look, the stare, because this masculine, I feel like this masculine wants to stare at this feminine, but then if a feminine has dealt with a lot of narcissistic people, there's what's known as the narcissistic stare, right? It's if you know, you know. I feel like this is a reading for those who just know. If you've dealt with them, it's very tricky, but this masculine wants to stare at you, but I'm getting like Cyclops, where he's got this, he's blocking his own vision or power of his stare because it could burn. It could burn her. She's been burned before, this feminine, and she has so much power that, like, doesn't he, I don't think I watched those, but I think, doesn't he go up to her and, like, she consumes him. Their love consumes them because, God, the Tower here, this is a strange message. And this card's got a little chip away, a little chip on the shoulder. Ooh, this is a dark feminine. This is a feminine in very dark energy, and that does not mean false energy, right? This isn't like black magic, but this is a feminine who has kind of mutated. They're mutants in X-Men. She's mutated her powers of allure, beauty, magic, nurturing, like with that Queen of Cups, that's a great listener. That's somebody who is here to hold space for your emotions. They are the Queen of Cups. They are the vessel that you can pour all of that into. But then if you are a feminine who is lacking because of your childhood, your past experiences, you've got a leak in your cup, so to speak, then they're going to pour into that and fill you up with their lack, their fear. As a vegan channel, it's a big part of why I do not consume animal products is because the fear that is in them. We are all hormones. So when you consume animal products, all you're consuming is hormones. When you consume plants, you create hormones. Your body creates them. So the animal has already done all the work for us. And therefore, when we take it in, we are like cannibalizing their fear, their anxiety. That's why so many diseases come from consuming animal products, because it's, you have such an intense purpose with this person, but there's something about the goodness in you that has mutated. It feels the feminine into this like dark entity. It's mutated them. It's almost devolved them into this place of not being able to see the light. And it is like the earth coming between the sun and the moon. And the earth represents the ego because it's the 3D, it's the tangible, it's the physical. There could be an earth sign or a fixed sign that has gotten in between you two, or somehow like a third party entity that is doing that. But I feel the third party entity here is the ego, which is ultimately represented by, they say the devil is the ruler of the earth, and so it's like this devilish energy, and not cutesy devilish, not like winky face, horns, truly deep-seated, deep-rooted darkness that has been poured into this feminine. But when we consume all of that, all right, and that's not just in the food that we eat, but it's in the things that we watch, so everything that you see, and the algorithm is set up in a way that feeds into that to keep us in a fear-based state, to keep us in this lack mentality. Because if we are lacking, if we don't feel like we have the power to heal ourselves, to be the true magician and alchemist of our destiny, of our reality. We are not creators then, all right? All these content creators, all these false idols. I mean, whether, and maybe someone here is an atheist and that's why you're kind of like, I'm focusing in on that, but there's something about this has been foretold, and I feel you are meeting this person in like a downfall of the divine feminine. And you cannot create without the divine feminine. You can't create without the divine feminine. The divine feminine is a vessel for this creation, for this recreation of reality. And it's just, this feminine has been like a vessel for fear. You've been poured into. And these others, it's like that movie, The Others. I don't want to spoil it, but with Nicole Kidman, it's like The Others, there's a flip in everything that felt true and everything that felt divine and everything that felt like, and this is the people you looked up to, your parents, society, maybe something with politics. I don't get into that because that... whatever, it's a scam. It's all a big fucking facade anyway. So to buy into it in any way, to feel that there are two sides to anything, is absurd. I feel like I'm up on my soapbox here for a minute. So maybe you two are going to be speaking out about things that you're very passionate about, and it's the dark magicians, right? The false magicians are not going to like it. They're not going to like it. So there's this kind of flip-flop. But I get like this masculine coming in to Medusa's little temple, right? And risking, and it's something about their stare, because lava is going to melt her, the ice that is around her, this like ice queen, this very Queen of Swords. Like if she's been burned so many times, she's going to kind of surround herself with ice so that she can combat the fire. Like, I'll just get icy, and it's the heat miser and the snow miser. They're brethren. Somebody could have been raised in like a hyper-religious environment, and if you think about it, God and state, like all of that is interwoven as a mockery to Libra energy, which is karma, right? The true scales of balance. Yeah, someone feels very imbalanced because what has been poured into this feminine's cup is poison. And this masculine is coming in, and it's like they're going to drink this cup of poison because this masculine knows that they have the strength as a 3D masculine magician, right? That is the alchemist of the 3D. Masculine energy rules the 3D. Feminine rules the 5D. And the 3D, it's like the world, I get some sort of guilt here. Like the masculine feels sorry. They're watching this and they feel sorry, not just sorry for the feminine, but they feel sorry, almost like, okay, like, you know, if you meet a bunch of your signs or like fellow signs or birthday twins or somebody, you know, like it's, and then they act abhorrently, you're like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry on behalf of all the Tauruses that have ever, you know, been that way, or I'm sorry. As a woman, it's, I have heard all kinds of stories, and I come from narcissistic females, right? Whatever you want to call them. And it makes me feel like I'm sorry for my gender. I'm sorry for that. You know, I feel that, and I feel like this masculine feels that way for the whole world. But when they see their feminine struggling this way, they're like, And this masculine may have witnessed their mother, their sisters, get abused by other masculines, get torn down by masculines, and watch their de-evolution and watch them get contorted and mutated into these dark feminines. And so like with their feminine, it's almost like they're taking on the responsibility of the whole masculine world, and everyone who's ever done them wrong, done this feminine wrong. Okay, that's weird. Knight of Wands, Knight of Pentacles. I mean, this is a very slow and steady masculine that's coming in, but okay, so they're going in different directions. Let's get back to this, because this is a very strange message, and I'm getting like you two are going to speak out about this. You two are here to come together, and the power you have, if it can be nurtured, if it can be healed, is going to contribute to the collective healing, and it's going to be a powerful divine defense against the dark arts, right? Defense against the dark arts, Harry Potter. So there's this feminine in the tower, which the tower has come out with this chariot here, right? This masculine's going to come in and say, jump with me. And I've seen that before. It's like Spider-Man. I don't know why I'm getting these like comic book things. Maybe somebody really likes comics or like fantasy fiction. But this, see how they're like, they're trying to catch this feminine in time. But see, in this situation, someone's already fallen to the ground. Now this could represent the demise of the evil, but this masculine's, I feel like they're going to grab the feminine and almost like sacrifice themselves for this feminine. But they won't, it's not like they're going to die, right? Because they're a superhero. So they're taking the hit because they know, this masculine knows they have enough confidence in themselves. And it's more like an archangel. Somebody's name could be like an angelic name or a biblical name. This masculine could have like, you know, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, you know, whatever. Could like the Ninja Turtles. But it is like a cowabunga thing where they're kind of just, it's like their divine purpose has been to come in and salvage this feminine before they hit the ground, before they implode, before they explode, before the dark entity takes over. It's like they're going to drink the poison. And in Harry Potter, I get where, like Dumbledore, he knows how powerful he is. So he drinks that poison. And he tells Harry, you know, just like, keep making me drink it. Even though I don't want to, or even though like I may cry or beg you, I'm going to drink this poison, because that is how I get to the Horcrux. It's like this feminine is the lifeline, and not an evil Horcrux. And there's something about a trinket, maybe like a locket or some sort of necklace that somebody could wear, or that is going to be a gift with this, like a token. I mean, somebody might receive some sort of coin, literal coin or like token. But this masculine knows that, and it's not that they don't know, actually, in a 3D sense, but they feel, because this feminine is like pleading, energetically to the masculine. Where are you? Where are you? It's like they're calling out in the darkness. They can't see this masculine. They're just crying out in their temple of stone. And they're surrounded by all these stone creatures. And that tells me that the feminine has had to cut out a lot of people. They've had to disconnect and end a lot of connections. They're not connections. They're attachments. They're codependent. They're vectors, right? They're just entities of destruction and chaos all around this feminine. The feminine has had to do that, but they are kind of at wit's end here. so it's like the masculine thinks that they have the power. They're like, but they are going on faith. They're going on belief. And so there is still a risk. It's not like if I jump out of here, and I just watched Last of the Mohicans, where he's like, no matter what it takes, no matter how far, I will find you. And he jumps out of the waterfall. And it's like this risk where he's willing to sacrifice it all. The end of that movie is so spectacular. Like, the best fight scenes. That movie just has everything in it. So there's Daniel Day-Lewis is a Taurus. He's an April Taurus. Drip, drip, drop, little April shower. Something about April showers. There could be rain. Baby shower, or like a bridal shower. Somebody could meet there, or that could be like coming in the future, a baby shower. Because that's like springtime, so that's where everything starts reproducing and procreating and blossoming and all of that. So it's like this masculine with heavy water placements, it feels, is coming in to shower, and it's like the feminine's flower is dying. There could be a long period of celibacy here, or if the feminine was giving their body, their flower, so to speak, to other masculines, it's poisoned, right? It's like they've been like dandelions, beautiful medicine, but they will get killed if you put weed killer, Roundup on them. Roundup. I don't know, maybe someone's like, I feel like riding cowboy, like this, like a hero, and then a hero comes along with the strength to carry on. Leo energy, this masculine has a heart of gold, solid gold. And I'm getting molten lava, also the scene from The Hobbit where it's like the gold, it's this king, and then the dragon comes up out of there, because we did have the dragon representing the feminine as the Ace of Pentacles. So we've had the Ace of Pentacles twice, the feminine represented as this like fearful dragon. So it's like this masculine is coming in to melt this feminine. This feminine is hardened. I'm gonna harden my heart. I'm gonna something my pride. I don't know what she said. Thank you everybody for your patience and bearing with me through this message, because it's a lot. It's a lot. Okay, so this feminine is here up in this tower, right? In this tower of like ice and stalagmites, right? Where they're in a fortress of their own demise. They've blocked themselves off, and there's something about the full moon here with some crown chakra activation, some sort of downloads that are trying to get in, but it's like this moon doesn't look right. This moon looks like some sort of dark feminine energy that is and that could be in this feminine, that is that like dark feminine mutation, where they're just operating out of defense against the dark arts for so long that it's like they become the monsters that they hunt. Also, I'm getting the bell tower, sanctuary, what makes a monster and what makes a man, Hunchback of Notre Dame. But see, there's this Knight of Wands. This is the crown chakra here, and the Knight of Wands is both Sagittarius energy. So there could be something with the Sagittarius involved that's, and again, that might trigger you, hearing that, or hearing any of the signs that I've mentioned, because you may have dealt with those false versions of that. And so it's like this masculine's like, I'm coming in a different way. So say, for instance, this feminine dealt with a Sagittarius, and this Sagittarius fucked them up and put them in this place of like discontent for simplest terms, all right? Because this is a lot of deep chaos here. I'm seeing the eye here, the all-seeing eye right here. But this masculine's coming in. This masculine could be a Sagittarius as well, but they're coming in with a fixed placement or an earth placement. They're coming in a different way. But see how armored up they are? Because it's like they know that this feminine is so defensive and so guarded. You know, and some people might be like, well, then that means that this feminine's not ready for a union. And in some cases that might be true, but this feels like the most beautiful people. You know, they say only the good die young. This feels like the most beautiful people, you know, celebrities. I'm thinking Robin Williams as an example right now, where, and he's a Gemini Cancer cusper, I believe, but may he rest. But he, you know, it's like gone too soon. This feminine, you might say, oh my gosh, that's, you know, weak. He took the weak way out or whatever, depending on what you believe happened to him. Okay, we'll leave that there. If you know, you know. But it's like, this feminine could be like on the verge of jumping. Now that gives me like a lot of depression, anxiety, fear, suicidal ideations. And that is all these attacks, these mental attacks, these spiritual attacks, that are coming in around this feminine to confuse them, to divert their attention, right? That's what a magician does. And I was just watching Focus with Will Smith and Margot Robbie. So there's Robin Williams, Margot Robbie. Rob could be important or be a name here. But that's like robbed. Like this feminine has been robbed so much that it's they can't do it alone anymore. It doesn't make them weak. It doesn't mean that they're ill fit to be in love. They need, you know, you can do so much healing by yourself, but then you need an example of what you're fighting for. What do you have faith in? You know, the universe and the divine need to throw out some examples, throw out some signs or synchronicities, throw out some confirmations. But I feel like these signs, synchronicities, confirmations that this feminine has experienced in the past or has taken as, okay, I need to be on this path, I need to go down this path, has led them down paths that were very treacherous. A lot of snakes in the grass is there. Last year could have been really trying for this feminine with the snake. Could have dealt with a Scorpio, have Scorpio placements, because Scorpio is the snake. Native American zodiac for Scorpio is the snake. But there's that cycle of repeat. The tower and the divine break in this feminine cycle of being the vessel for all of that hurt, shame, sorrow, fear, mutilation, death, sorrow. I might have said sorrow multiple times, but it's, you know, that's what it is like to consume animal products, okay? Especially in an industrialized world, okay? We are not in a world where we are just consuming what we need to survive. That is natural. What we do is not fucking natural, okay? So that is a major component, okay? Hitler followed the same practices of animal agriculture for what he did. Okay, so let's just leave it at that, I guess. Because again, I'm like, there's a big change here, but this feminine feels so like compressed. It's compressed. They can't breathe, because they've been bamboozled so many times. Because when you're a person of faith, you also give people the benefit of the doubt. You give situations the benefit of the doubt. You can play the devil's advocate, right? But that's what the devil wants. The devil wants an advocate. The devil wants excuses. They want someone to pity them, or whatever it means, so that they can get more, so they can take all that they want. And this feminine is at wit's end. So, but you see that a lot with, Divine Comedy, and you see a lot of depression, suicidal ideations, and acts in the comedic industry, or in people who have that sense of humor, right? Helka, right? So it is the magician, the emperor, the empress. It's the culmination. It's a lot of fours. It's a clown. It's the divine comedian, the jester, or as it's pictured on a lot of tarot decks, right? The magician and the fool are often pictured on there. That is the combination of all the different types of empaths, right? So there's flora, fauna, right? There are different types of empaths where you really relate to, and you are connected emotionally and sensory-wise to. Some people are very, empathic towards children, or the elderly, or to animals, or to plants. Hilka is someone who is sensitive to everything. And they are like the comedian, because they are in between the dark powers that be, the false powers that be, right? Between sadness and happiness. And they merge the two and tell a joke. and you look at all these comedians who spoke out about things that are going on in the world and have always been going on in the world, very treacherous things, and they are the ones who either time out themselves or are taken out. Okay? That's what's going on here. And that's why, if you are still here following along and you're like, why have I not come into union? It's because what you're tapped into is so trickery. There's so much trickery going on around you, because what you're going to be speaking out about, it gives Lady in the Water, okay? Where his character, I don't want to give too much away, but Lady in the Water, he's writing something very important. He's speaking up about things that are going on in the world, politically speaking, the systems that are put in place, the industries that are put in place to keep these divine empaths, these cycle breakers, compressed. Keep them in their little, it's like a geode, crack it open and there's this crystalline, beautiful, prism-like, diamond-like, these reflective crystals inside this compressed rock, who has kind of like seen it all. And it's when you've been called a rock so many times, you're a rock. You're just a rock. You forget that you actually have all of this. You're full of diamonds, shine on, you crazy diamond. You've been called crazy so many times. When you've been called crazy so many times, you might start to believe it. That does not mean that this person is weak. This feminine is not weak. It's because this feminine is so powerful of the 5D that the false powers that be have taken great care. We'll say care for lack of better terms, because they don't care. They've taken great measures okay? Because it does feel very methodical, measured, calculated approaches and attacks to demolish and keep that feminine thinking they are just a rock. They are just a rock. And so, this feminine is pretty guarded toward it, but that's why this masculine is made of the stuff they're made of, is because they can come in with this Ace of Pentacles, with this true act of stability. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm right here. I've got you. I've got you. I feel like they're going to cradle this feminine. This is going to be the first safe place this feminine has ever experienced. Judgment and the Red Cross. This is that when you're in the desert, you're in the desert, you're out of resources, you've been bit by a snake, you've got minutes to live before you get the antidote. Anecdote. It's the antidote, but anecdote. There's something anecdotal here, and that is very comedian. Somebody could be a comedian or just very funny, or it's somebody who has maybe a dark sense of humor because they've been around it so much that humor has been their only outlet. It is the way out. Humor. Laughing with the tragedy is it's all that we can do at times, because there's so much tragedy, there's so much evil, there's so much of that. But as much as there is evil, right, it takes so much evil to overcome someone. But it only takes a little bit of good. If you've ever been, and I know you have, if you're still here 47 minutes in to this reading, you've been at the depths. And just one person, or as an empath, whatever your empathic, your like truest connection is, your direct link to your nature. If it's insects, you see a butterfly. If it's fauna, insects are animals, so they are in that kingdom, but you might see a deer or a bunny, or it's like there's some sort of totem, some sort of signs or synchronicities that you have. You see a bird, or if you're like very sensitive to sounds, right? You're an auralist, maybe. You hear something, and you could be clairvoyant in different ways, right? So whatever way that you divine or receive information, you're getting that. And see, this feminine here, and it just takes that. You could be contemplating suicide and see a bumblebee land on a flower and just come to tears and smile, like there is hope. And that's all it takes, is that little bumblebee on a flower there. Or hearing like in Under the Tuscan Sun, where she hears, they're saying Capiria, she's been slighted by another man, brokenhearted, and then she sees some children playing in a fountain or something like that, and there's hope. It gives her hope to go on. And then Diane Lane's character, she's throwing my favorite blue glass. Maybe somebody collects colored glass or something like that. But she throws it at, the color blue is important as well, which is light and indigo. So that's throat and third eye. Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, and Taurus energy. But she throws it at the Virgin Mary, or a picture of Mary, not actual Virgin Mary. But again, there's some sort of, maybe somebody was raised Catholic or raised under some sort of constructed, traditional, conventional they were raised in a box. Somebody was raised in some sort of box. Now that was religion, and then they had to branch off and discover that they're spiritual, and that spiritualism encompasses everything, and there are still facets, biblical facets, that are very true, but they've just been, manipulated and used for false purposes, false intention, power over the other, not power to create, power to destroy. But see, there's some sort of interruption of the crown chakra here. Somehow that this feminine downloads information, receives their information for their clairvoyance, however they divine. Someone has figured that out and is weaseling their way in. And it's because of the power of this feminine. It's been a lot of attacks. And it's almost like, I can't trust anybody. I can't rely on anybody. There is no hope. There is no this. And those are the thoughts that went from maybe affirmations that empowered this feminine to the place where it was like that all-seeing eye of Sauron. I see you. It's like once this feminine realized, I have the ring of power, I fell into a burning ring of power. Went down. Burning ring of fire. Ring of power. I don't know why I said that. I mean Lord of the Rings, but anyway, Johnny Cash, which is JC. So yeah, somebody has like a close relationship with Jesus, or maybe like Mary. You have these sort of close connections with, like I'll just I don't want to go into like a personal story there, but yeah, Jesus is my homie, because I know Jesus as an idea, as a concept, as a person, in an unconditional way. But then when I was growing up in church and around people who misused his name and the name of divine as something, I knew it wasn't that. I was already tapped into like, that's not love, that's not God, that's not truth, that's false, because I already knew like the idea, the entity, that a lot of people call JC, Capricorn energy, Pisces energy. Yeah, there's the miser. Gosh, this feminine is like holding on to. They're keeping their wits about them. They're holding on to everything that they have for dear life. Deer is also the Native American zodiac for Gemini. So that's the lovers here. This Knight of Pentacles is coming in a way that's I don't want to say guarded. Because they're not protected. It's like they know. I mean, they're going to talk to a dragon that's been in a tower. This feminine is going to probably try to burn this masculine down or turn them to stone. So this masculine is like, they're protected, but they're coming in because they just know, I'm going to, what is that? Passengers with not Chris Pratt. Is it Chris Pratt? And Jennifer Lawrence, where he's like in the flame, to like not just save her, but to save everyone. It's like his divine responsibility. This is like an archangel that's going to take the hit. That does not mean, masculines, that you should subject yourself to any sort of verbal abuse or anything like that. This is not a toxic feminine. This isn't a feminine who's going to degrade you or put you down or try to take from you in a way. And that, masculines, I feel you already know that. I feel you already know that, and that's why you're coming in with this knight. You are coming in as support and angelic support, because you are tapped in as well. You have to be tapped in to understand this type of energy. So you're not just like, oh, that's a pretty lady over there, you know. You're truly willing to risk it all. Queen of Swords. Yeah, and the Queen of Swords, she's got her hands open. She's got one hand open. So however guarded this feminine is, however reluctant they are to there's still so much nurturing there. There's still a wholesome quality. And it's something about the look, something about the way that this masculine looks at you. It's they're guarding their look like Cyclops. They're putting a shield over it. They're not I mean, they could be wearing sunglasses or something to kind of hide how much they're looking at this feminine, because they don't want to freak them out. Because they're like, oh, everyone else just looks at them, and everyone else just sees this. But this masculine is seeing into the feminine. They're seeing into your soul. And this Three of Wands is like, this is a masculine who's been watching and planning their approach and their offer. And this is also someone who wants to work with you. Not just in life. 10 of Wands. Yeah, they don't... There's the rescue there. 6 of Swords. And the Lovers. Thank you, thank you. This masculine's been working on this for a while. And now that could be for this, you know, you could have known this could be a masculine that's been in the peripheral for a while, in the 3D, or this is just a masculine who's been in your 5D peripheral. They've been working toward this, and it's like once they see the feminine in the 3D, they're like, that's her. That's my Medusa. And it's like, you know, with the snakes, she's taken on all the snakes in her hair. She's become the monster. And it's sort of, but underneath she has a heart of diamond, a diamond heart. And with the gold, it's like the masculine has a heart of gold, the feminine has a diamond heart, a diamond in the rough. A diamond in the rough means like there's this rough exterior. There's all this guarded, protective energy. But underneath it's so shiny. And I'm really looking forward to this. I know this has been kind of like a exhausting message, but I'm looking forward to this for this masculine, because I think that they've given their heart of gold. Fortunately, it may have hit them in a way where they were kind of downtrodden and not very optimistic about love, but maybe that's both of you. Maybe you both are coming, maybe you both have this like guarded exterior, but once you see each other, it's like that all just melts away. Kind of all at once. 3 of Wands again in the Sun. This is that clarity coming in. I think this masculine's going to kind of apologize for taking so long, because they've been feeling it. Whether they've been watching you in the 3D or feeling you in the 5D, this masculine knows that this feminine has become a monster because they've taken so long. And I don't feel like the feminine is going to be mad about it once the masculine comes home. You know, it's kind of like if you're in a relationship and the wife's at home like, where are you? What's taking you so long? Wow. They're getting more and more angry, but then once they see you, they're just, okay. It's like the masculine 911, that is like an emergency call. Somebody could work for emergency services of some sort. But this is the helicopter that comes in. They're coming in to save the day. You've got minutes to live, and then the rescue comes in with the Six of Swords. But I get like the wife's like, where are you? What's taking you so long? Having all these thoughts that are overcoming them, that are bringing them stress and strife, and heartache, and then they find out that their masculine was actually on a plane that was hijacked, and so when they see them, they just embrace, and they don't care. Nothing else matters. All of that like internalized stewing and stirring, and any angers, frustrations, heartache that they've felt just washes away. It just melts away the moment that you see them get off the plane, because you're just so glad that they're here. You don't care what took them so long. So masculines, don't let that be a holdup. I don't think that they're going to be angry, but it's like the masculine walks into the temple, Medusa's there, and where if he would look at her, she would turn him to stone. She looks at him, and he's reflecting back with his little cyclops. He's got this protective gear on. He's got some sort of like PPE where he's going to be able to, it's like he walks in with a mirror. She sees herself. She sees the monster she's become. And it just melts away. It just it's all in the look. It's all in the look. The first eye contact that you make with this person is you're going to know that why, it's like you're going to sense and understand why they took so long. And you'll understand as well why you received all those other confirmations that seem like they were leading you astray. Like I always say, the demonic detours always lead you to the divine, right? The demonic is always working for the divine, whether they like it or not, because they're not that fucking clever. You're not more clever than the divine. All the lies lead to the truth. Like, because you can only tell so many lies. It takes so many lies to cover one lie. It's never just one lie. It's a series of lies. It's a series of unfortunate events. JC, Jim Carrey, January 17th. Also the, conspiracies around him. Another comedian bites the dust kind of thing. If you know, you know. But this kind of look is that the all-seeing eye. You see into them, they see into you, everything else melts away. All the time that it took, you just understand that it all happened to get you to here. And it's also going to melt your heart and the exterior around your heart, because it's going to be validation, the ultimate validation that you weren't crazy all along. That you were meant to experience everything that you experienced, for better or for worse. It built you to where you can now, when you get up and speak out for things, and to advocate, right? Whether you're going to be whomever you're advocating for, right? The innocent. It's always like the innocent need the most advocation, because this world is all about stripping innocence away and pulling us further and further away from our inner child, our inner truth. That's what the inner child is. It is our inner truth. And that's the only way that we can connect and create with each other, is when we let all the guards and all the conditions down, and we just express and share and reciprocate and connect with that heart chakra. And so this sun is coming in with the moon here. And see, this is the moon, but even the moon, see how the moon is kind of like this somber, feminine profile, but it's in the sunlight. It's this feminine has been waiting for the masculine. That is, you are part of each other's karma to heal this. to be the one little bumblebee on the flower. You know, this love is the hope that keeps you. Six of Cups. Oh yeah, High Priestess and the Queen of Pentacles there. This is the so it's this is, you know, your soulmate, your inner child soulmate, who's always been with you, and they've been experiencing the same things too. And because it's not like they're just, it's not like your masculine or your feminine's just out there dicking around. You know, like, they were being built up, they were being constructed, because that's how a pearl is made, that's how a diamond is made. You know, it's like force and compression actually creates this beautiful, shiny, iridescent organism. I was going to say creature, but it's this, we'll just call it an entity. Okay, it creates this beautiful entity that acts like a prism. And because you've been through all these things, you're going to be able to refract and reflect so many other tragedies and traumas of others around you, because you've been through them, because you truly are a spherical empath. You understand all the tragedies, you feel all that, and that makes you, you know, the perfect center of whatever this work that you're going to be doing in the collective is. The feminine is the center of that, and the masculine, you know, in celestial objects, right, celestial bodies, the moon orbits the earth, right? The moon orbits the earth, and the earth orbits the sun. But in here, I'm getting like the masculine orbiting the feminine, and the feminine really being, and maybe the feminine has, you know, strong Leo placements, representing them as the sun. But it's like the moon, when the masculine illuminates the feminine, it's a full moon. And there's something so beautiful about the full moon. You can look at the moon where you know, they say you shouldn't look at the sun, right? But, you know, there are conspiracies about that as well, because they don't want you to have, you know, have the knowledge of like what sun gazing will bring to you. Anyway, everything is to just, everything that we're told not to do is kind of like, all the rebels, all the conspiracy theorists, all the crazy people, they do it anyway, and they're called crazy for doing it. But then it's like, what's more crazy? That you go in and you vote for a person who's not even a real person, and they're not even the person that you're voting for. Like, they're not even doing, anyway, I feel like there's like a big political undertone here, because that is in everything. It's in all the industries. It's in animal agriculture, it's in the medical industry, it's in sex trafficking, you know, it's it always goes back to the state of things. Because God, the divine, does not govern. Okay, so the idea of a government is absurd. Okay, a government is absurd, because we don't govern each other. That's all about control, right? Just like dominion, right? We have dominion over the earth. That does not mean that we are here to destroy. That means we're here to create. That means we're here to protect. And how many of us feel protected by the powers that be? How many of us feel truly healed joyful, optimistic about the future of this world. Yeah, so do with that what you will. If you've been through this whole reading, I appreciate your time. We'll see if it even uploads. We'll see if it stays uploaded. But that's the risk you take. The risk you take for the truth is very minor. If you know, you know. So yeah, this isn't like one of those where you're gonna meet your person and la la la. That's really cute. I will be doing some of those sign by sign readings. I am prepping for those because this collective is working towards something and waiting for something that is very intense. And it's not just about you and this person. It's about everybody and everything that is good and pure and true. Damn. All right. And see, just having done all that, I feel a little like, should I do this? So that means I'm gonna. All right. We'll leave it at 111 there. Hopefully there was something in here for you. If there was, my heart goes out to you. And collective, we're in for it. It's coming. It's coming. Well, it's here. It's here. And so, let's get it together. These unions are necessary for the collective and for what is to come, because it's not about to get easier. It's going to get harder before it gets easier, and I don't think it will ever be easy. Well, that was a real buzzkill. Okay. Thank you for all the support, your patience, your donations, your likes, shares, subscriptions, all of it. Because I know this is like a hub for unpopular opinions, unpopular truths, basically. So everyone that's here, for whatever reason or intention you are here for, I appreciate you, because you are helping the algorithm. So whether you are a demonic detour or divine angelic assistance, I love you and I thank you. And until next time, I wish you well.